Listen, Witch Talk. This is a very important book review that opens up a larger discussion. If you don't know who I am, are you new here? I'm Riot Adams. You're probably looking for Peggy. She's taking the day off. Her exact words were, "Listen, sweetie, don't talk to me. All right, my back hurts. I've been carrying Witch Talk for too long." So I just filmed a 10-minute review for this book, and the audio was completely destroyed. So here's the shorthand. I'm going to start with the positive. If you want the juicy bits, fast forward. Surprisingly, this is the best resource for color magic. I've read a lot. I recently did the whole Swedish death cleaning thing and got rid of like 100 books. This is the best resource for color magic, and it's literally 2 pages of the book. The reason I say this is because it's written the way that I am writing my next book, where you get the whole spectrum of something and not just the little tidbits. An example would be the use of black candles. I've seen a lot of witches say black and black candles are for protection, or that you don't actually use black candles in hexing and cursing. Bitch, what? Yes, you do. The color black does have positive properties to it, like protection, but you definitely use them in malicious magic. If you're looking for a book of candle spells, like adding herbs to candles, this book really isn't the tea. But if you're a beginner, this is the one for you. If you really want to know a lot about candle magic, this is the tea. And I have this in my Amazon storefront thing, so it's easy to find. Now on to the negative things. It's going to get progressively worse throughout this video. She tells you not to blow out your candles because it is disrespectful to the spirit of fire. That is an opinion based on her belief. It is not factual in any way. I thought, okay, she's approaching this from an animist perspective maybe, but she's not. The reason I'm harping on this one is because the witchy spaces have evolved quite a lot, and it's inappropriate for anyone to comment on someone's work and say, you shouldn't do that. That's just not how this works. It's perfectly fine for you to have that belief and not blow out your candles. But telling someone that they're doing this wrong really shows a lack of understanding across the board. Next is white sage, full stop. Tired of the conversation? The answer is no. Next is tobacco. They attribute it as a baneful ingredient. I'm native. The use of tobacco happening now in witchcraft is in fact cultural exchange. There's nothing wrong with that. Cultural exchange is not cultural appropriation. You can use tobacco in your spell work, but don't bastardize something that isn't yours to begin with. Cigarettes, preferably cigarettes that have been smoked on, great for baneful and malicious magic. Tobacco in and of itself, not baneful. Example, I'm not going to use an orange in a hex, but a rotten orange? Some moldy ass fruit? Baneful. Next, she basically tells you to invoke the spirit of Chief Blackhawk. Girl. You may not like this opinion, but I'm going to say it anyways. Do you think that my ancestors, who possibly fought your ancestors, are going to help you with your candle spell? Just think about it. Natives are not as peaceful as people think we are. We are not all out here painting with all the colors of the wind. Some of us are painting with the blood of our enemies. Highly inappropriate for this author to advocate that. Next is hoodoo. I think that there's cultural exchange happening right now in real time with hoodoo and modern witchcraft, like the honey jar versus a sweetening spell, but this book is just straight teaching you a honey jar. That is not the author's place to do so. Hoodoo is technically not a closed practice, it is an African folk practice, but it's not my practice. And I may be native, I may be an enrolled tribal member, but if your skin is as white as mine, it's probably not your practice either. So it's not my place to say whether you can or cannot practice hoodoo, but if you want to learn about it, go to the source, not a white lady selling a candle spell book. The author cites their sources. First 2 sources are hoodoo. And you know, cultural exchange happens in multiple ways. Brujeria, Santeria, voodoo, hoodoo, they all have some Catholicism as well as indigenous practices in them, especially Brujeria and Santeria because they are predominantly indigenous. But if you want to learn about something, go to the source. This lady's probably Irish. No shade to the Irish, so there's some pretty problematic things in this book. And you're probably thinking, oh, I shouldn't buy this book. Canceled. No. Here's where we get to the real point and the moral of the story for this video. I am not just a witch, I am an occultist. I have the knowledge and experience to be able to dissect a book like this. I can't do that with every book because I don't know everything. But here's the tea, y'all. I have books that have spells in them that call for animal sacrifice. I have books with rituals that call for self-unaliving. This is an occult space. Side note, if you hurt an animal, I will curse you. The witches that argue about folding a piece of paper a certain way or blowing out your candles, y'all are in a beginner witchcraft space. You're not in the occult space. So unless you can stomach some of the things that I just mentioned from some books that I own, it's not really your place to cancel books. If you're still arguing about the mundane, you have not earned the right to be canceling authors. This book appropriates my culture, and it is the best book for candle magic and color magic. When you're reading any book in this space, you need to know and understand what is appropriate for you and what can and should serve you and what should not serve you. Know what to take from a book and what to leave behind. There is a shift happening in witchcraft, and it's been happening, and I think it's for the positive. But the occult literature and the witchy beginner books, they have not shifted yet. So frankly, unless you buy the books that we would deem problematic, you will not learn anything. Not every problematic book is going to be worth buying, but this one is. I know this is a pretty heavy video for my usual lighthearted fun content. Even my hexing videos, you're going to laugh. And because of that, a lot of witches do not take me seriously. But make no mistake, humor comes from intelligence, and I know what I'm talking about. And if I don't know something, I'll tell you because I don't need to pretend. Everybody wants to be an expert. Girl, you will never be an expert. I'll never be an expert. We can be very well versed in a handful of topics, but there will always be something in this field that we don't know about. So, moral of the story, problematic books have their place. Not all of us are qualified to be canceling books. Learn how to take what serves you and what is appropriate for you. Learn what is not appropriate for you. And most importantly, above all, this pumpkin cream cold brew from Starbucks slaps.